Hi guys, how are you all? I'm just waiting for Rohan to join in. Hi, this is exciting. This is the first time I'm hosting a live on behalf of Miss India, and I'm really excited. And happy World Photography Day to you all. I really hope all of you have had at least one photo shoot which you've been happy with and which you've really liked and which has brought about the character or your personality through the pictures. So that's exactly what we are going to be talking today on World Photography Day. So give me a few minutes and I will have Rohan on the line. There he is. Hi, Rohan.
Sorry. I think I made it a little late.
Not
I'm
at
sorry
all.
to
It was all
everybody.
good. How are
How are
you
you,
doing?
Lakshmi? I'm doing fantastic actually. Lockdown's just opening up, so I'm actually I suppose I'm venturing out of the house again after about a 5 month lockdown. So it's been interesting. It's a completely different perspective with the way I'm looking at life now. So it's been fun. How have you been?
I've been well. I've already done a few shoots. Um, the
Delhi.
first one being Tarun, Delhi.
Ah, of course. You guys are much luckier there. In Mumbai, it's a big struggle.
I know it's been hard hit.
Hmm.
Mumbai, Maharashtra, and honestly, every place has been hit pretty badly. But the thing is that in Delhi, I don't know, I don't know what's happening, but there are a lot of shoots happening in Delhi. The first shoot that I went for, I had to really think. I had to
Right,
really think whether, should I even go for it? Is it a good idea? But
yeah,
when I went there, it was, everybody is dying to work. They're all really excited. Everybody's taking care of themselves. They're taking care of the fact that, they should be wearing PPE suits. And, first shoot was like that.
right.
The makeup artist and the hairstylist were all wearing PPE suits. It was a
I
virtual shoot for Tarun Tehliani. I don't know whether you saw it,
You did a virtual.
but
I
it
saw
was,
that the ones which were lit
yeah,
from the back, right?
yes,
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 I saw the
yes.
pictures. It was
So that
fantastic. You
was
all did
very
that virtually,
exciting.
huh?
Yes, we did it virtually. No, not virtually. It was virtually projected, but the actual shoot
Okay,
happened. So it was just a
nice.
very small team, but
Right,
we
of
did
course,
go
of
there.
course.
Every model had separate cabins for
Nice,
her change, and which was really luxurious, honestly. It
nice.
was good fun because, we had our own cabins and we were given various protection stuff like, hand sanitizers. We were all wearing masks till the very end when we had to
Right.
remove it and then do the walk. So exciting. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, people are
I
wishing
think I
us
lost you there
happy
first.
World Photography Day. So I'm just no. I'm totally here. I'm just wishing everybody here. Thank you for joining us. And obviously, happy World Photography Day to everyone here. I hope we can entertain you all or give you all some bits of knowledge that we've learned over the years, and it helps you guys as well. Thank you for joining us, most importantly. So Lakshmi, funnily enough, I actually did do a shoot a month ago. I've only done two shoots, but I had to shoot in a complete, like you said, PPE suit, and I shot Arjun Kapoor at his house. So it was a very, very small team, and my God, it's difficult, yeah, to shoot in a PPE suit. So we
Oh
have
my
the
God.
the the
Yeah.
PPE suit, then you have the glasses, and then you have the visor. By the time my eye reaches the camera itself, there are like layers in between my eye and the camera, and I'm just like, how am I supposed to be doing this? It's along with the gloves and this giant suit on me, and I am melting inside that suit.
Oh my, I can imagine. Really, it
Yeah.
is really tough. And especially given the weather
Yeah.
in Bombay and in Delhi for that matter, it's really tough for people to shoot.
Now, luckily,
Uh,
I mean, actually, I don't know if everyone loves this weather, but personally, in Bombay, it hasn't stopped raining. But I absolutely love that being a Bombay kid my entire life. So for me, the rains are a great sense of nostalgia, and it's always been off season for photographers anyway. So I'm just taking it
yeah.
in my stride.
So am I. It's been raining the whole day today in Delhi. The weather is
Right.
beautiful. And even if there isn't much of work, and yet, we are still spending good time with our families. And I think the
Yes,
world needed a break, honestly, keeping everything
no doubt.
aside, keeping the misery that a lot of people are going through. The world really needed a break. I mean, if you look at it in the bigger picture, we could see blue skies in Delhi again. You know how polluted Delhi is.
Yes, that is true. We
And
could see blue skies here as well. Funnily
yeah,
enough, I was actually talking to a friend of mine when we were on the terrace in my building, and we were looking up at the sky, and we're like, oh wow, look at this, and then this sunset and this skyline. And I'm like, you know what? If you really truly think about it, we are in awe of something that should be default. That's
absolutely.
nature. And
Yeah,
we tend to, as human beings, just sometimes forget about the simplicity, and we overcomplicate so many things. I have to do this. We have these ambitions and goals and all of these things that can eat up into. I mean, I'm not saying don't have ambitions and goals, but what I am saying I think what the lockdown has taught me, and I would hope a lot of people, is just a sense of balance, and like the to appreciate life. Like you said, if it stops, if it's paused, if life is on
yeah,
pause, what are you going to do? How can you utilize that
absolutely.
time productively and, just like enjoy life?
Yes, and I feel the humans, have actually taken over the world as if it's their own property. We have forgotten the fact that there are other beings as well who need to live in it. So
Yeah,
anyway, Rohan,
that's true.
I need to. I think I have a few questions because I have been really curious about, the world of photography that you've been also a part of. I've seen a lot of stuff that you've done, and it's quite brilliant. And I wanted to
Thank you.
ask you, I've written these things down. Please share your journey as a photographer. Let's start with that.
Well, firstly, if I have to start sharing my entire journey as a photographer, it'll probably take 2 hours because I talk a lot. So I'm going to keep it very, very concise, so
Please,
that
I would
everybody
appreciate
here,
it.
doesn't get bored of me. But okay, so Lakshmi, honestly, it's well known that my father was a photographer in the industry. Um, he was a very famous photographer in the 70s and the 80s until the 90s. And then eventually he started like getting disillusioned. He wanted to take a break, etc., etc. By the time I hit, I would say about 18, 19, I really never wanted to do it, to be very, very honest. I've been raised in a photography environment. I've been raised in that space, but I was very, very, very scared because my dad's name was massive, and it's always difficult when you're a kid trying to do what your dad does because you'll
I'm
always have
sure.
comparisons, and not the whole nepotism space that's been going on lately, but in terms of like, when your dad establishes a business and you can take over, or you want to do something similar, I don't see it as such a bad thing because I feel like it happens everywhere. But so it was difficult for me at the start. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I actually only wanted to play football as a kid growing up. And then eventually, my parents actually told me, you know what, just give it a shot. Try it. See if you enjoy it. I used to love art in general and music and stuff like that. So I did try it. And what I did fall in love with was the travel aspect. That was, for me, traveling is my number one priority in life, which is why this lockdown's been a very good sense of perspective shift for me. But yeah, so I enjoyed the whole travel space of it, and I wanted to actually start off with being a travel photographer. And I tried that. It didn't really work out for me. Then I went and studied in Bombay itself. I did a course. I went and assisted photographers, various photographers, including my dad. And it was a long journey. That I spent 5 years assisting. And
Wow.
that, yeah, so people don't actually realize the value of spending that time, anymore, because it's so important, because it's not just about lighting photography. If you have to run it as a business and you have to make money out of it, you have to understand how to make it a profession, not just a passion. I mean, you are passionate about it anyway. How do you remunerate yourself from that? So that
So
took
you
me
need to understand the business behind it, which is extremely important. How do you
yeah,
monetize your
business,
passion?
networking, marketing yourself,
Yeah.
building a portfolio before you actually. So I've made mistakes in my life, which I used to teach my students as well, that I went way too early and approached magazines with a fairly average or below average portfolio at the time. And they looked at me and they're like, yeah, no, we're not really going to give you anything. And so it took me a while. I started my career in 2009. I got my first big break in 2010, I would say. By 2013, I got disillusioned. I wanted to try other things. I moved to New York for 3 years. So 13, 14, 15, I was kind of shuttling between Bombay and New York and studying filmmaking over there. And then eventually I came back here at the end of 2015 and I've been here ever since.
Wonderful. So when was the first time you held a camera? Did it feel special?
I was 2. I have pictures of myself with a camera that was as big as I am.
Okay, and when did you do your first photo shoot?
My first photo shoot, professionally, my first photo shoot was 2009. But just as passion, I used to shoot with my friends, and one of my friends just happened to be Ranveer Singh, the actor. So we shot in 2007, when we were basically nobodies, and he hadn't had his first big break. I hadn't had my first big break, and naturally, we were both just trying. We went to school together in the same class. So we've grown up together. So we were just experimenting. And then eventually, I think 3 years later, I was working with him on a Yash Raj project. And we were sitting in the Yash Raj office and we were just like, wow, man, I think we've kind of made it somewhere in our lives through fluke.
That's amazing.
But it worked for us, you know. And so, yeah, that would be one of my first shoots I ever did.
That's brilliant. That's quite
Thank
a
you.
story, Rohan.
I've concised it as much as I could.
Okay. So do you want to ask me something?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first thing, when it comes to, I thought we'll do your questions first and my questions first, but
We could
whatever.
do that as well. We could do that as well. So we
So
did
you
not
no no
really
no.
create a format. Let me tell everybody, we did not really create a
Yeah,
format. It's
we
as
wanted to
natural
keep
as it
it
is.
as
Yeah.
conversational as we could be.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Miss India journey. And before anything, I have to say that, honestly, Lakshmi, and I'm not just saying this because we are on live together. We've never actually worked together, which is very, very unfortunate for me because I've always admired your pictures, whether it's Kival shooting it or Vishwa shooting it. And I know, like, you're working with the top brands and the top photographers in this country. And while I was growing up, and through my younger days, I always admired your pictures because you have a
Thank you,
poise
Rohan.
that is very hard to find in a lot of models. And unfortunately, I just never got the chance to work enough with you.
That's it. Yeah, even I'm surprised, honestly. But I went to Bombay after during Miss India. I was in Bombay, and I've been a small town girl. I'm from Dehradun, and when
Nice.
I went to Bombay, I just couldn't adjust to the Bombay lifestyle because I gave it only 1 month. Honestly, I feel if you give any place
Oh,
more than that,
yeah,
you kind of, it grows on you. But the distance really killed me. I used to go, it would take me 2 hours at that point of time. There was no Bandra C-Link. And,
right.
it would take
Of
me two
course, yeah,
hours to get to an
absolutely.
audition. And I remember calling up my then friend and now husband. And I spoke to him and I said, I do not want to spend my day in a cab.
I can
And
imagine Bombay's traffic is hard,
and
but so is Delhi's. I mean, now I've been seeing.
absolutely, absolutely. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that, living expenses were quite pretty high. Bombay is an
True.
expensive city, to take, I know, and a lot of girls, even today, tell me about this, that, to get a place in Bombay, even it's a small place, it's pretty expensive. And you obviously want to live in you want to live in the Bandra side of, Bandra or the suburbs, somewhere really nice. You can forget about living in Colaba because it is so high and it's when it comes to its rentals, it
Yeah.
is a little expensive. And I have been brought up in the army. I'm an army kid, and
Oh, nice.
I've lived in bungalows. I've lived with large spaces, so it did take me. It was not easy for me to adjust to Bombay, though I love most of my friends are from Bombay, by the way, Rohan.
I'm
I am
sure.
in
I'm sure.
love with the people, the culture, how informal everybody is, and so I love that place. So my journey started when I became the Navy Queen. I feel it was forced on me. I'd gone for some event and I was picked up, and they asked me a few questions, and voila, I became the Navy Queen. And at that point of
Interesting.
time, and then this was in Dehradun, okay? And at that point of time, I was preparing for my engineering. My dream was to become a pilot in the
Oh,
Indian
wow.
Air
So was
Force.
mine.
Really?
Except mine was commercial pilot, not Indian Air Force.
Yeah,
But
okay,
of
no.
course, yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's a armed forces thing. And I was studying for engineering as well. So, you keep your options like that, where you have 3, 4 options during those very important years of 11th and 12th. And
Right.
I remember when I became the Navy Queen, I started getting these offers from, the regular event companies in Dehradun. And my mom said, nothing doing. If you really want to get into this field, you try for Miss India. And if you make it, fine. If you don't make it, come right back to studies. You know,
Of
sound
course.
advice, right? So I applied for Miss India. And this is somebody who has never had any experience when it comes to really walking the ramp or anything. And I got through. And this was the year 2000. That was one of the toughest batches
Right.
ever. It had Lara Datta, it had Priyanka Chopra, it had Dia Mirza. There was Bhavna Sharma, who went on to
Wow.
become such a famous
Of
model.
course.
There were
Absolutely.
so many girls who did so well from that batch. And
Tell me
there
about
was
your relationship with all of them and all. I would love to know
I
all of these things.
I will. And so I was the third runners up. And have I lost Rohan? Guys, can somebody tell me if I think I've lost him, right? Yeah, I think I've lost him. Maybe his connection. There he is. Let me try and add him again. Um, this is really interesting. If there is anything anybody wants to know, please do. But yeah, there you
Sorry.
are. Yeah, I
Apologies.
thought you just ran away from the live. I was a little worried there.
No, 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 not at all. Sorry. The story was interrupted with bad internet.
No
I'm not
problem.
going to name the company though.
Of course, please don't, don't want to get into any controversies here.
No, absolutely.
So,
So please go ahead.
so again, that I became the one of the top 5 in the top 5 finalists that year was huge. And because that year everybody went on to win international pageants. And I got picked up from there, from Miss India, and I was, Rasna saw me there, and she put me in touch with the Miss India, sorry, the Fashion Week, the India Fashion Week that was taking place for the first time in India. And again, it was a big deal
It
because
was.
for a newcomer to get into walking the ramp for India Fashion Week was huge. And I got into Fashion Week, and that is where I started working with the best choreographers, the best designers, everybody. And my story as a ramp model started there. And then I've never looked back. And during Miss India, our relationship, the batch was so cool. Priyanka, Lara, Dia, and so many others. I can name, there was Tulip Joshi, if you remember,
Of course. Absolutely.
Tulip Joshi
Absolutely. I
was one
remember
of
her.
the Miss India contestants. There was Bhavna Sharma, there was so many, there was Yogita, there
I
were
remember
huge,
Yogita as well.
yeah, there you go. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
the
absolutely.
batch was so strong, and we had such great camaraderie. That we used to have this little get-togethers together. There was really no there wasn't much of a competitive spirit that way, at least during those days. Of course, and I was from a small town, so I had like 3 pairs of denims and probably a few t-shirts to,
Right.
get through that 1 month of training. And, people were really, I think the Miss Congeniality was won by Savvy. There's some, I remember Savvy. She again became a good model at that point of time. So it was a brilliant batch. We had and I remember having such a good time with these girls. Lara, however, was one of the most well put together, girls that I'd ever seen. I looked at her and I was like, I stand no chance in front of this girl because
She had beautiful poise though. I remember like the way she
yeah,
used to
and
speak.
she was already Miss Glad Rags, I remember. She had won another pageant in Germany when she had come in for Miss India. So do you realize for people like me who just come in from from a place called Dehradun, and
Right.
to see such well put together girls, it was amazing. But then again, if you think about it, it gives a lot of hope to people who have come in from nowhere and yet have made it to the top because of a platform like Miss India.
It is.
So,
I completely agree with you.
so I feel, you live the dream, basically. You dream about something and, it actually could happen to you. You never know.
I have to, I'm sorry, I have to say hi to a couple of people who are messaging nonstop. Bibhu is right there. Hi, Bibhu. I'm sure you guys have worked together as well. Bibhu
Of course.
Mohapatra.
Wow. Hi, Bibu. How are
Uh,
you doing? There you
Bibhu is
are.
a wonderful human being. I spent
Yes,
extensive
even
time
I'm
with
very
him in
fond.
Nepal. Sorry, not in Nepal, in New York. And I have also been asked about how do I feel about being Mr. Nepal. I'm not Mr. Nepal. So I just have to say that. And yes, please continue. So tell me about, I do want to ask you one thing because it's something I've always found interesting, and this goes completely off the topic. But
Sure.
for a small town girl to come into a city like Mumbai or Delhi, and hi Abhinav as well, sorry. Um, how does that feel? Isn't even at the time when you were not in a space of, there wasn't a digital platform where you could just get so much information like you do today, where you guys Google or Instagram, and at that time it must have been so much scarier. Like, were you scared at the time where you were coming to the big cities?
Of course. So I'll tell you how I managed to do it is I told the Miss India team at that point of time. I remember there was Ela and there was um, I forget names, but I told the Miss India team that I will not be able to come if you do not give me an accommodation. It was a 1 month long training thing, and one, my parents would not have agreed to the finances, uh,
Oh,
and um, and for me to stay separately somewhere on my own would not have been possible. So I had to actually mention this as a prerequisite. And at that point of time, they were so cooperative that around 4 or 5 of us only did get accommodation. The ones who really had a problem. There was a lot of other girls who were there, but most of them were from Bombay. They had places to stay. But for some of
oh,
us who did not, I just told them flat on that I just can't make it if you do not give me accommodation. You will have to organize accommodation for me. And
nice.
it was organized. So I was lucky. But however, I feel it is scary to get into a big city because right after that, when I came back to Delhi, and I was, it's a huge administrative issue because you're traveling late nights because the shows get over at about 11 o'clock at night, and you have to come back home. You don't have a car.
Yep.
Delhi is an unsafe city again, right? So the first thing that I did, and this is for everybody who wants to get into this industry and are from small towns, is to organize themselves administratively. Because once you're organized administratively, you can concentrate on your work. And I know that in Bombay there are a lot of girls who stay together, in a flat, and I think that's a great thing to do. And Bombay, I feel, is a much more easier and a safer city to live in compared to
Truth.
Delhi. For
Yeah, I
girls.
haven't spent enough time in Delhi, but I have heard the stories. Yeah, so absolutely, I can
Yes.
imagine.
So
I found that
I had to.
it's so
So
important, for us to like pass on that knowledge as well,
message
because
here. Yeah.
girls can come in from anywhere, and it struggle to like to adapt to a big city. It could be so unnerving for them.
Yes. And I also trusted my agencies, not that I was with any agencies, but I trusted the people that I was working with in the sense that they were the best. They were doing the best work. At that point of time, also, we had a coordinator called Poojan, who's still here, and she's very dear to all of us. And,
Of
they would
course.
really take care of us. So you got to, and, you have to keep away from any kind of strangers or people that you don't know who are calling you at different places for a meeting and all of that. That one needs to be a little away from that. One needs to know, one needs to be smart about who you're getting in touch with. How are they getting in touch with you? Are they asking the right questions? Are they being inappropriate? So there were a lot of things that one needed to take care at that point of time as well. So it is a difficult thing to do, but it's important to have friends and to be in touch with them and to have good camaraderie. So all of that is really important.
Fantastic.
So Rohan,
So
tell me, yeah.
Tell me.
So now my next question is, you have been associated with Miss India,
Yes.
and you have done a lot of shoots with them. Could you tell us more about the shoots for the Femina? I think you've done many covers for Femina as well. Could you tell us
Yes.
about that? What was your favorite cover? Things like that.
It's, honestly, I was a kid with my first Femina shoot with the Miss India girls. And I suddenly get a call up one day and from Mitesh Taneja, who was the art director of Femina and Filmfare for the longest time. And of course, if everyone doesn't know, Femina, Filmfare, Times of India is all tied up with Femina Miss India as well. So it all works under one banner. And
Yeah,
the MD, who I have to be very thankful to, Mr. Vinny Jain, has given me countless opportunities, and has basically it's the publication that kickstarted my entire career from 2010 onwards. And the first cover I did was they called me up and they were like, "Hey, you want to shoot the Miss Indias?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Yeah, it's like three Miss Indias, and they're going to be on a cover for Femina." I was like, "Sure." And they're like, "Okay, but there's also going to be Shah Rukh Khan in the cover." And I'm
no
like, "What?"
way.
And this was I think 2013, sorry, 2016. 6 years into my career. I was 29 years old at the time. And I was pretty starstruck, to be fair, because I hadn't had a chance to work with SRK before, and they gave me that platform, they gave me that opportunity. And the shoot went off really well. They used the SRK pictures as a separate cover, as well as the girls of Miss India at the time. And it created so much mileage in my life. I'm working with SRK ever since till date. And and I'm truly grateful for like, sometimes as a youngster or as someone who's trying to make it as a photographer as well, you have to be really grateful for the opportunities that people provide you.
Absolutely. So, you know, this
And
is
so,
something
yeah,
common between the two of us because SRK was a judge during our Miss India as well.
nice.
And I remember having this one, you know, we have this pre-judging round where every contestant has about 3 minutes with each judge. And I
Right.
remember the most impactful was that 3 minutes that I had with SRK because he was so charming. He
He
was
is.
very charming.
He is. He's a
He
fantastic
was talking
man.
about some chart in Delhi because he's also a Delhi boy,
Of course,
and
yeah.
it was really a pleasure to talk to him for those 3 minutes. It's quite brilliant.
I'm sure. It's just everyone who works with SRK or who has been around him, just his presence, he's just a really, really nice person. I mean,
Yes,
that's so you get so humble because you can see a man who's pretty much the biggest star in the country being humble to you, asking
yeah,
you about like what would you like to have? What would you like to shoot, Rohan? I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes the stalwarts, they really teach us a lesson. Mr. Bachchan as well for me. It's just, he's like, don't worry, I trust you. The first time I worked with him, don't worry, I trust you. Just do whatever you feel like, and I'm sure your images will be great. They instill that confidence in the child. The child is just like, wow, man, okay, you know what?
yeah. I will
I
give in
have
my
my
best, and
confidence has
it'll,
gone through the
yeah,
roof.
yeah. And your productivity grows. Obviously, this is
Absolutely.
something, and as in when one grows bigger in life, and this is for everybody, I guess. Humility and modesty is something which is such an important part of a person's character that it
It's the
is
truth, yeah.
it's the truth. And Mr. Sarke is one of those extremely charming man. Rohan, can you tell me about what was one of the most memorable shoots you've ever done?
Honestly, there are so many over a 10-year, 12, whatever, 11-year period that I've been doing it. But I actually shot underwater. I shot a campaign for this designer
Wow.
who's also a friend of mine, very close friend named Kresha Bajaj. And we shot her images in Lakshadweep and we shot it in the ocean underwater. So I was like in a complete scuba gear. And I was probably prepping myself for the PPE kits that I have to use now onwards. But I was in a complete scuba suit and we were shooting underwater about 10 feet, 15 feet underwater. And honestly, I think now beyond anything that just the sheer experience of it was I think the most memorable I'll ever have in my life because it was in Lakshadweep, which is just stunning. And As a photographer and a model, you would know this, that we are lucky enough to be taken to the most beautiful places on the planet. And just sure, all we have to do is experience it, right? And then only then can we create beautiful imagery.
Absolutely. This is one
And
of
now
the
it's
perks of being in this industry, is to travel.
100%. That was my first point. I was just like, hey man, there's travel involved in photography. Okay, I'm gonna do it. You tell me your most memorable shoot.
So many. I have been in this industry for so long. It's been such a journey. But most of my memorable moments have been on the ramp where I've traveled to New York, Paris,
Ah,
Milan, various other countries. Again, perks of the job. And have actually had the opportunity to even see those places because, most of us stayed back and, had a look. It's insane the kind of opportunity this industry provides you sometimes. But one of the most memorable shoes perhaps would be one of them would be probably for Vogue. It was it was the Olympic issue, and we were at Mehranger Fort. It was a 3-day shoot. The photographer was Diego Fuga. He was flown in from Milan, and it was a huge 10, I think 16-page feature. There was
oh
another model
wow.
who had come in from Milan again, and it was just me and her. But we ran into certain issues. The photographer wasn't feeling too well at that point of time, and there was some issue with the photographs being lost.
Right.
There was tension, and yet it was such a brilliant, brilliant 3 days. I cannot begin to tell you, Rohan. The photographer turned out to be, he was a genius, a mad genius is what I used to call him.
Apparently
But
we all are. That's what they say. I don't believe it, but I'm sure.
oh my God, what the team goes through with mad geniuses is not even funny. But yeah, by the end of it, the kind of results he got was just insane. The photographs, the pictures turned out to be brilliant, and he did extract that extra from you, which is not easy to give. But yeah, that was one of
Yeah.
my most memorable shoots because
I
of
think
the
that's something very
action and
important.
the tension and all of that involved. That is probably why as well.
Hi, Samir. Nice to see you after a while. Please call me back at some point. No, but Lakshmi, you said something very, very important. Sometimes it's nice that the photographer managed to extract that little extra from you, and that's so important. And I
Yeah.
feel like we don't really recognize that from your perspective sometimes. As photographers also sometimes we can be so myopic. I want this and I want this and I want that and this is how it's going to be. And I feel like it's very crucial for us to have an open mind, because honestly there are everyone on that set has such beautiful ideas, and that's why it's such a collaborative effort, our shoots.
I think the team really works. If the team is good, then most of it is pretty sorted. And and honestly, I feel if the photographer is good, then 80% of the job is done. However, that rest of the 20% has to be bang on, even for the photographer. And, but the lighting and everything makes a huge difference. So, you tell me as to when was the first time you got a real paycheck? How did it feel?
Glad rags. I got, I think, 2,000 rupees or something. It
Really?
fe it felt okay. I wasn't really doing it for the money at the time, but I got paid. Although I think I put in more money than I actually received, but that's totally fine. I was just thankful to have an opportunity to shoot. Yeah, at that time I was such a kid. I had no idea what I was doing, Lakshmi. What about you?
Look of the year 2099, I think. I There was Netra and Carol, and the winner was supposed to shoot with them. But I don't know what happened. Maybe there was a clothes issue. You know, I fit into the clothes or something. Something happened, and they asked me to also be a part of it. And even though I had not won the contest, and that was a huge paycheck for me at that point of time. It was 25,000. Okay, at that point of time,
Nice. That
and
was a lot of money. Yeah. Look at me
you
saying
know, and
2,000 rupees.
and I was like, I have made it. This is it. Obviously, later on, I realized that, hello, you don't get paid like that for every job,
Right.
obviously. But it started nice for me. It started on a good note. So that 25K really helped me come back to Delhi and pick up a place and, at least settle down a little bit. Okay. And then, so that big paycheck was a huge boost to me, getting some positive sign from the industry saying that maybe this is a good place to be.
There is hope yet,
There
basically.
is hope yet, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to move to our rapid fire game, which
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
going to go first. I'm going to ask you a bunch of
Okay.
questions, and you're just going to have to reply as fast as possible.
I shall try.
Yeah.
I'm a little
So,
scared though.
yeah,
Yeah.
you should be. You should be. Okay. So, first thing, would you rather shoot a cover or participate in Fashion Week?
Shoot a cover.
Who's your favorite designer?
I have many.
Sorry?
Shrestha. I have many favorite designers. Do I have to? Can I name a
I
few?
know. You can name a few, absolutely.
Anamika Khanna, Gaurav
Of course.
Gupta,
Yeah.
Tarun Tehliani, Manish Malhotra, Manish Arora, Namrata Joshipura, Malini Ramani, who's now closed her label, but I love her as a person. So, do you realize this? So it's been so many years, I'm bound to have many favorite designers.
I'm sure,
As long as you don't
absolutely.
ask me who's my not so favorite designer, I'm okay.
Don't make me. Okay, your favorite photographer, other than Rohan Shrestha, who you've never worked
Of
with.
course, of
Yeah,
course. Tarun Vishwa.
he's also my favorite photographer,
Oh, really?
who I've never worked
He's
with.
such a sweet man. I love him.
Inspiring man. And if you ever get the chance to tell him, please tell him I'm a huge fan. He knows it because I've actually taken his autograph once, and
Really.
I presented him with one of my books as of I think 8, 10 months ago. I met him in my book studio, and I was like, Vishwa sir, I'm your fan. I can really learn. And I started, and he didn't believe me. He thought I was just bullshitting. And I was like, no, I started narrating his shoots to him. I was like, you did this shoot in Kashmir. I like this picture, this, that. So he knew that I was actually being very serious.
He's a shy man. I'm sure you must have made him very uncomfortable by
I
praising him.
did. I did.
You
I took a
know,
picture with him also. He's like, I don't want to take any pictures. I'm like, nay, 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 sir, please, just stand. It's a selfie. It's fine. It's all good. Him and Mr.
he's not on
Natarajan.
any social media, by the way, huh? He's not
Yeah,
on any social media. It's difficult.
yeah,
You can't even tag him. Even if you take a picture,
yeah,
you can't even really tag him.
yeah,
And he's such a brilliant man to work with. He's
yeah.
such a brilliant man to work with. I'm really honored that I actually worked with him for quite a few shoots.
You're very lucky. Okay, next. What are the essentials in your bag?
Okay, a phone, in case I get into any trouble in Delhi, of course. Sometimes I carry a knife. Um,
Really?
yes, it's true.
Wow.
I carry a knife with me because I have been, I'm an army kid. I've been taught to defend myself. So in
Right.
case I get into trouble, I should not be looking around for anything to attack or defend myself with, not attack, defend myself with.
Wow. I
So
was not expecting that answer. I'm very sorry. A knife. Okay, great.
thanks. So you know that nobody really takes any undue,
Good. All the people on this also are very well aware now.
no, all I'm saying is that, in a place like Delhi, I've been conditioned to we come back late at night, and in fact, when I fly from one place to the other, and this is a, traveling job, and, sometimes you land very late and you have
Yes.
to take a cab. So I have a knife in my checked-in luggage, okay? And when I come out, I take that knife out and I put it in my handbag for that travel back home, by the way.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Abhinav is like, kill them. Go, Lakshmi. Nice. Okay. What is your
I'm sorry.
lockdown look?
So, yeah. Lockdown look
Yeah.
is shorts and a t-shirt and extremely curly, frizzy hair, which is all over the
Nice.
place. That's what it is.
Nice. Like how mine is right now.
Yeah, a little bigger.
Except it's
Just
slightly bigger.
yeah.
Okay, next question. Lakshmi in pajamas or Lakshmi in designer wear as per current situation?
Well, as per current situation, I would really want to be in designer wear because I've had it with pajamas and shorts.
Oh, okay,
Um, so yeah.
nice. Okay, your biggest fear as a supermodel?
My biggest fear as a supermodel is has always been that I have tripped and fallen on my face on ramp when I've been given a really important outfit.
Has that ever happened to you?
I have tripped multiple times and I have just smiled it through and thanked God in my head that it did not fall. So,
Yeah,
so it's about how you take it. I have never taken it seriously. I know of girls who start crying and everything, but I feel it's natural
yeah,
to stumble. It's natural to trip, and it's completely okay to falter on ramp once in a blue moon. It's absolutely fine. But it is my fear because there is a lot of responsibility that comes along with the position that a lot of designers keep me at. It could be an important outfit at the end. It could be a very, very cumbersome outfit that is very important for the designer for
right.
it to be showcased, and it is difficult as well. So there is a lot of responsibility, and sometimes I feel that God, I do a little prayer before walking on.
Still,
That please, yeah, please let it just go. This is just 1 minute. Let it go smoothly, God. So yeah, that is one of my fear. Yeah.
nice. The longest time you have made a photographer wait for the first shot?
I have made a photographer. I have
Yeah,
made a photographer wait. Never. It's
never, huh?
always been the other way around.
Yeah, I get personally, for some reason, there are certain people that always say Rohan Shrestha is always late at the shoot.
No way,
I'm like,
really? Is that
no,
true?
I actually don't know, but the fact that I don't know, it might actually mean that they might be right, to be fair. But I try as much as I can. I try. I try. Sometimes
I
you
let
get
me
stuck in
answer
Bombay
that
traffic.
question. Let me answer that question differently. I have been made to wait for at least half a day for a photographer because the apparently the batteries were in charge or something.
Okay, that's sad. That's a fair excuse.
There you go.
And my last question to you,
Yeah.
describe your personal style in 3 words.
Elegant, edgy, and comfortable.
Nice. Lovely. So you answered everything fairly well. I don't have
Didn't
any
I?
hamper
Yeah.
or
Oh,
any
okay. Damn.
prizes,
Damn.
but
Maybe we can shoot together someday. That could be a nice hamper.
I would absolutely love that. But please let me know when you're back in this city because I have no plans to come to Delhi anytime soon yet. At least yet.
Yeah, let's hope that that happens soon. So let me start with my rapid fire. Are you ready?
Always.
The cover shoot that's closest to your heart.
Filmfare July Ranbir Kapoor 2010.
Why is that?
My first big cover, Ranbir Kapoor being just off the popularity, and he delivered a huge hit in Wake Up Sid at the time. And I was an absolute nobody, a 24-year-old photographer who they just wanted to try out because, chalo, let's have someone young to shoot it. And at 24 or 25, I was shooting a filmfare cover, which my dad had done for many, many years of his life. And I was just like, wow. And that actually catapulted my career forward. So I will always hold that filmfare cover very, very dear to my heart.
That's brilliant. Your favorite model that you've shot with?
I would have to say my favorite. I mean, there are so many, I love Netra because she's also someone I used to work with back in the day. And for me, she had poise as well, which just like you do. I mean, there's something very elegant about that batch of supermodels that we had, including, I think, I would say Sheetal as well. And,
Yeah.
it was just, I used to work backstage, Lakshmi, and watch all of you guys, Tinu as well. And I used to come backstage at Couture Week and stuff like that.
Wow. So
And
you were
so,
hovering around somewhere, and damn,
yeah.
we didn't notice.
Nobody
Okay.
noticed it. Nobody notices that press guy at the side over there. But I used to be there. But I mean, to be fair, the model I've worked with the most is Nidhi Sunil.
Oh, she's brilliant. I love her. She's lovely.
Yes.
Favorite celebrity you shot?
Zinedine Zidane.
Wow, did you?
Yes,
That's
in
amazing.
2017. In 2017, I shot him for a campaign in Madrid, Spain. And I won't give the quintessential Bolly answer because I can get screwed if I pick people.
Oh, that's smart, Rohan. I didn't know that. I should have asked who is the favorite Bollywood actor that you shot with. Wrong question. Your personal style in three words.
Torn t-shirts, pajamas, and most likely bare feet.
I understand torn jeans and t-shirt and bare feet, but torn t-shirt, pajamas and bare feet, is it?
So my pajamas are not torn, but my t-shirt
Thank
is
God
torn.
for that.
Yeah,
um, Outdoors or indoors?
outdoors.
Color or black and white pictures?
Depends on the project. Completely, I have no preference.
This is one of my own. Which is the most favorite image that has lasted you? I mean, who have you shot it with? Is it black and white? Is it color? Which is one of your most favorite images that you've shot?
Well, to be fair, I mean it's a bunch of images. I do a series called the White Tea series, which is basically I shoot all of my subjects in either a white tank top or a white t-shirt. And I have been shooting now, I think I've reached about 65 to 70 personalities that I've shot in the exact same way. And for me, that's the best way to shoot it because it's very simple, you know, it's no makeup, it's no posing, it's just be yourself. And that's what I tell these guys as well in front of the lens. Just like do whatever you want, man. I'm not going to direct you. Just like feel free to express yourself however you want to express. If you want to smoke a cigarette, smoke a cigarette. If you want to drink a beer, drink a beer. But let me just photograph you for who you are.
And
And I
let's not,
think,
and it should not be very posy. And that's, I guess, the
yeah,
look even today. You know, today everybody's shooting people like that, even for campaigns. It's
yeah.
a very, just be yourself, just be lost in your thoughts. And that's how we want to capture you. Um, your most embarrassing moment in a shoot?
A light fell on an actor.
No way.
I cannot name the actor because she
Where you,
might get pissed off.
was anybody sued?
No, luckily she was a friend and she didn't say anything, but the light landed on her head, which was really scary. And after she
Oh my
laughed it
God.
off, I said, actually, it's after she laughed it off. Firstly, I was in death fear. And when she laughed it off, I was like, okay, fine, you know, then it just became just embarrassing and not like fear.
Okay, so what is easier to shoot? A model or a celeb or just marine life? Because obviously you've done underwater shoots.
Completely different space. I wouldn't say marine life is photography. Marine life is just capturing what's actually there. You know, it already exists. You're just taking that moment in time. It's very different sort of photography as opposed to our fashion and celebrities. Like for me, I feel like I never want to actually have a favorite solely because if I pick this way or I pick that way, I don't like getting typecast as a photographer. So I would never call myself a Bollywood photographer, a fashion photographer, or an underwater photographer, or a sports photographer, whatever it might be. I'm just like, man, I just like the camera. I'm going to take images. In 2019, Rohan Shrestha would be liking something different. In 2015, he must have liked completely something like, you know, your perspective changes over time. So there's never really a favorite. But if I truly have to say something, there is something that inspired me. There was a quote that I saw when I was attending exhibitions in New York, and it was basically it stated that as an artist, you are morally responsible for the images that you put out there
True.
because you will influence not one, it might be one, it might be 10, or it might be a million people, but you have the power through imagery to influence somebody else's mindset, and that's your responsibility. And I asked myself, like, what
Absolutely.
do I really do as a sense of responsibility? And that's why I started getting involved in a lot of causes and stuff like that. And I shot
That's
stuff in
brilliant.
Nepal, and yeah.
That's beautiful, Rohan. Um, three essential items you carry when you travel.
I'm the worst traveler. I have to make lists for everything because I keep forgetting stuff. But a battery pack for my phone, for sure, because I'll run out of battery. My headphones, which is crucial for me. Music is everything when I travel, and possibly a Kindle
Okay.
or an iPad. So
Okay.
I'm very
So
into my tech, basically.
I'm sure, and I like to run away from my tech. I like to be away from my phone. I would rather carry an old-fashioned book than Kindle again, though it is easier to do so. And even
True.
today, after so many years, I still feel, even though I've become very active on Instagram now because of the lockdown and everything, I still feel it a little cumbersome to be on the phone for
Oh
longer
yeah,
than
I'm
I
sure.
really need to. Um, Last question. Among the gadgets that you own, is there something you wish you hadn't bought? Which is and there's one more after this.
No. I do thorough research before I buy something. I don't just spend my money frivolously. So I know what I'm buying and I know what if I'm getting my money's worth.
And which is your favorite lens?
Favorite lens? Oh, that's an interesting one. I would say at the moment is an 85 mm 1.2 Canon lens, which is very good for portraits.
So this should be good information for whoever, all of those who are actually looking at doing photography. Um, so this has been, you've done really well in your rapid fire, Rohan. We've
Thank
been
you.
very politically correct, but why not?
It's part and parcel. We learn over time. I've had
So
a
let's
lot of foot in mouth moments in my life.
I've also learned to be like that through years, and I have been literally. There have been times when I have looked back at my footage and said, "Oh my God, given that you are one of the Miss Indias and you have been trained, you should do better." But yeah, um, let's talk. I also wanted to. Was a little curious about. Um, Posing in front of the camera. It's just subject regarding posing in front of the camera.
Yeah,
So this is just
sorry.
me. All okay?
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So this is me just being curious as to what kind of body language do you look at from from models and celebrities? It depends upon the shoot, of course, but what is the body language that you enjoy most?
So, I'll tell you what, there were two things. Prior to my time learning filmmaking, I was very structured about the kind of poses that I wanted. So I would give models references, etc., etc. As I went into a filmmaking space, I started understanding the acting part of photography and as to how it's so much easier if you just let people be and just be comfortable and give them a comfortable space for them to express themselves. So you can give them a brief prior to the shot. And I'm sure you know this, like a lot of big photographers and senior photographers that you work with would be saying the same to you, I'm sure. It's just like, you
Yes.
know what, just be. This is the brief, this is what we're looking for, and just express yourself to how you want to. And I feel like you get magic there that isn't rigid and structured. It's just organic.
So my take is, there were times, years back when there were shoots that used to happen where they wanted a strong personality and they wanted a very edgy kind of a look, high fashion. So here in Delhi, there are a lot of shoots that take place which is high fashion because Delhi being the fashion capital of the country, and like people like Manish Arora, Gaurav Gupta. Gaurav Gupta came in later, but again, they've always been very, very strong with their aesthetics and their creativity. Their
Right.
So I remember during the years, a few years back, there used to be this extremely hard posing. Even the editorials that we used to do was very strong, very structured, very, very straight. And that this little transformation which I've seen coming through the years, where everybody wants natural, where everybody wants it very organic, everybody wants it very, very. easy, where the photographer just captures the basically a lot of people just want mood pictures now,
Hmm.
you know. And do you miss doing shoots which used to be, uh,
More structured.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I'm so. It's completely slipped my mind that we used to shoot like that when the days of Le
yeah,
Ciel and the days of lots of fashion magazines with like organic, huge clothes and there's a structured way. Especially Gaurav, he loves shooting like that. Like very
yeah,
fierce. And
yeah.
yeah, I suppose I actually do. It also depends on the client so much. Like it depends on the designer who you're working with. Like their
I don't
personality
remember the
comes
last
out.
time I did a shoot like that, by the way.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm just now that you brought it to my head, I was like, wow, okay, she's right. I suppose even the girls are very different now, Lakshmi.
Yes,
They're
yes.
also a lot more timid and softer. But you guys, I just always felt this that our earlier batch of supermodels were very strong personalities, and that translates into camera as well. And maybe that's why. But these guys would look at you guys and be like, see, you can't mold a model to a large extent, but you know what you're getting when you sign one on, and you
True.
guys had that strength.
True. This is one thing that I need to touch upon for people who are watching this is, there was a time, Rohan, when the girls in the industry, we used to call the shots in the sense that we would command a particular respect, a particular treatment, and a particular amount that we wanted to be paid. In today's times, I feel that has changed a little bit. I feel there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of agencies that have come in.
Yes.
So I feel today the models today have to kind of um, try and bring that personality through, where they also ask for a particular kind of respect, and they should command a particular kind of a fee structure, because everybody being so much in competition with each other, what happens is that the models start losing, uh, kind of the kind of amount that they should be actually getting paid. So
True.
unfortunately,
Absolutely.
in the industry, when it comes to inflation, when you see the fee structure getting higher according to inflation, this industry is a place where I think the fee structure needs to kind of improve according to the inflation part of it.
I would hope so. It kind of that like you said, when it comes to models, that also works the same way with us. There's a lot of
Yeah.
competition and only few people get paid the kind of money, and then everybody else. I mean, I hope everything works out for the best. I have a question for you, Lakshmi.
Yes.
Can you give me a tip on taking a great selfie? Because and I have to say this, I don't take good selfies. I'm a terrible selfie photographer, and so now it's all on you.
Oh my God. Okay. I learned this from my friends. I've still not perfected the art, but yes, I have somehow learned that taking a good selfie, extremely important. So this is how what I have learned is to keep the phone a little. The angle should be a little up. Somewhere. Somewhere. If you keep the phone bang in front of you, your selfies will never turn out good, and you will look like hell. So, Candice, if you know Candice Pinto,
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
she is the best selfie taker in the world.
Nice. I had no idea.
Yeah. So we can
Fantastic.
even take some questions, Rohan. I mean, if there's anybody who wants to ask questions, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are really wanting to ask
Actually, I have
Rohan
noticed.
questions.
No, Lakshmi, there's someone who's actually been asking you a question for a while, and we've um ignored it. Is Abhinav, who's a friend of mine, and he asked you, have you ever worked with Prabodha Dasgupta?
No, Rohan, I've never worked with Prabhudev because
So Abhinav, that's your
unfortunately,
question.
yeah, this is that, Lakshmi Menon is the one who probably you're talking about. But me, I have never worked with him. I've met him. I have had huge admiration for him. He's one of the most brilliant photographers I've ever, seen his work. I've seen his work is brilliant, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, I've never had the chance.
So he didn't confuse you for Lakshmi Menon, not at all. He's asking if
Okay.
you worked with Prabodha because Prabodha
No.
for me
Yeah.
Prabodha was just like, wow, man, that guy can create photography
Magic. Yeah.
into art. He makes models into an art form. And you know,
Yeah.
for photographers to have that kind of vision, you have to really, really shed all the facades that we put in front of our faces and ourselves, and then we
Yeah.
think of who we should be.
Yeah.
That's what the man just shed, and that's why his pictures turned out to be, I think, the way they were. My
Just
God.
insane.
Yeah, and if there's any questions, guys, please feel free to ask. You
Somebody
should
said
be
that
refraining.
that he likes your hair.
Yeah, that's not a question. And also, if you could refrain from asking us about our personal lives, it would be great. Because, I mean, you're not really going to get an answer anyway. But yeah, fantastic. I mean, please give your introduction. I think you're a bit late for that, but it's fine. So anyway, with regards to that, I would like to ask you, I would forget them now. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, wait, sorry. How should one approach a photographer to assist? Please send them an email. Do not approach them on Instagram. Do not get their
Yeah.
number and start calling them up. Do not send them random WhatsApp messages. Please put it as a professional email. And, you know, it would actually really, really help if you do it that way, because nobody really takes an Instagram message seriously. Rohan, are you still a Barca fan after the 8-2 loss? Yes, I've been a Barca fan for 20 years. That's never going to change. For you, Lakshmi, an advice for body positive models. Very important.
I think this is it's in today. Everybody finally have realized that it is important to have body positive plus size models as well into the world of beauty. And I know of a very good friend of mine called Sakshi Pradhan who's doing a fabulous job at it. She was a part of my pool during Fashion Week. And oh my God, the kind of confidence that she had and the way she walked on the ramp was brilliant. What an inspiration. So I feel that a lot of others, people who are wanting to get into this industry and with an image which is the body positive image, must come into it. And what matters is, confidence, and what matters is the belief in yourself. And please follow Sakshi Pradhan. There is a lot to learn from her.
Nice. Are you wearing Pankaj and Nidhi?
Yes, I am. How do you know? Oh my God, wow.
That's this question is for Lakshmi, ma'am. What are the three things to keep in mind? Leave leave your week on. I don't quite understand the question. But also there is one interesting question that is what are things that you should keep in mind for male models? Like I'm
For
sure you've
male
worked with so
models,
many, yeah.
yes, it is a tough place to be, honestly. The Indian fashion industry is hugely dominated by women. I feel the world should be dominated by women, but that's a joke. But the industry as such is hugely dominated by women. And, you have to understand that even modeling for men and for women, for that matter, has to be a hobby till the time you get the chances or the opportunities for it to become a profession. So I would strongly advise people not to leave everything and uh, chase modeling as a full-time career. It is very, very important, especially in times like today, when the fashion industry, as you know, has been hit really badly, and
Yes.
amongst other industries as well. It is very important to increase your talent base, not only as a model, but as a brand, or as, and have other things that you can study and you can work on. So it's even for male models extremely important because very few male models really make it. It is not a very well paid job when it comes to ramp. Let me be very, very honest with you. However, you can make your money and you can make that fame if you're doing commercials and print work. There is a lot of work there. And if you get into acting and stuff, you're very lucky and, God bless you. But the opportunities are very far in between. So it's important to keep it as a hobby and, give it a time frame, say a 5 years or 4 years, so that you give it your best shot, and if it does not work out, you have other things to fall back on. So that's my advice for not only male models but for everybody who wants to get into this industry.
Thank you. And on that note, I think Our time is up. We've gone over time by 7 minutes, which is great. It's been honestly, Lakshmi, I've had a fantastic time, and I hope the audience as well. I mean, whatever's left of them is has enjoyed this time, and we've kind of answered some questions. There has been a guy named Chetri 4947 who's actually like been talking about how wonderful you are, Lakshmi. So thank you, Mr. Chetri,
Thank you so
and
much. So do you have
yeah.
anything in mind to look more good in photographs, Rohan? Let's take this as the last question.
Uh, Anything to look more good in photographs. I mean, you know what? Honestly, it's not about looking good. It's about a good picture, a brilliant picture. It's not about just looking good. It's about the entire environment that we create. I mean, what is good looking today? Like, I mean, if I photograph a Paresh Rawal, for instance, who might not be the quintessentially good looking man, like that you would understand as to how we look at, right, in terms of media or in terms of perception, but he might be the most interesting face to shoot.
Yeah,
So it's it's
absolutely.
it's completely different. It's all relative, guys.
Totally. Before we say bye to everybody, this is a call for entry, and this is important because this is Miss India. And this is a call for entry if you've ever dreamt of wearing the crown, and if you want to be the next Miss India, um, please log on to www.missindia.in and please register. I really hope you all have enjoyed the session. And Rohan, it's been such a pleasure. We haven't met, but I feel I know you
We
already.
have met. You just don't remember me because I was that guy in Fashion Week. But
Did
it's
you
totally
have to
fine. I
say
get it.
that? No, did you
I
have
had to
to say that?
say.
Really?
It's okay because I want people to know that's how we start as photographers. We're always the
Yeah.
guys in the background, and it's fantastic. And here we are
And the
today.
models, to our defense, we are worried about our outfits, we are worried about our makeup, we are worried about how we are looking and what is going to happen on stage to notice good
Absolutely,
looking
absolutely.
good looking photographers backstage. So
Thank
nothing,
you. Thank you so
it cannot
much.
come as a do not blame us for it.
Not at all. Nobody's blaming you, I promise you. But thank you so much. And thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Rohan. Thank you, Miss India, for this, and it was lovely interacting with everybody, whoever logged in, and that's it.
All right.
So take care, Rohan. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.